The progressive political world has been pointing fingers over Donald Trump's victory, with Bernie Sanders saying Democrats abandoned the working class and pundits saying actually Democrats were too woke. For more on this, it's time for a closer look. In all of the autopsies and postmortems about last week's election, there's one stat that I keep hearing, and I do think it's worth reflecting on.
It looks like Trump is on his way to winning the popular vote as well. That would make him the first Republican to do so in decades.
Trump not only notched an overwhelming victory in the electoral vote, he is also on track to become the first Republican president to win the popular vote since George W. Bush in 2004.
This is the first time in 20 years that Democrats are going to lose the popular vote.
Look, obviously Democrats did not want to lose, especially to a racist sociopath who led a violent coup attempt and closed out his campaign by simulating oral sex on a microphone. And I do promise I won't show that clip again, unless that is the physical motion they use for the animatronic Trump in Disney's Hall of Presidents, in which case I will show that again. But still, Democrats had a 20-year streak of winning the popular vote. We just live in a big divided country with a narrowly split electorate where there are only two major parties. And if you keep asking for 20 years straight, eventually you'll be able to flip 2 or 3% of people, which is all it takes from no to yes. It's like one of those married couples who tells the story of how they met and they think it's cute, but everyone else finds it super weird. It's like, the first time he asked me out, I said no. And the second time, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. But after the 20th time, he just wore me down, you know? He showed up at my work one day and mimed how good he was at oral sex. Starting tomorrow, I'll stop showing it starting tomorrow. I also think it's worth keeping in mind that even when Republicans do win the popular vote and claim a broad mandate to reshape the country, things can change pretty quickly. Here's what they were saying back in 2004.
The result is now clear, a record voter turnout and a broad nationwide victory. President George W. Bush won the greatest number of popular votes of any presidential candidate in history.
And the nation responded by giving him a mandate.
When you win, there is a feeling that the people have spoken and embraced your point of view. Let me put it to you this way. I earned capital in the campaign, political capital, and now I intend to spend it.
I earned capital, and capital is better than lowercase. A capital B looks like two boobies, but a lowercase b only looks like one boobie. And tonight, the American people, they've shown me both boobies. See, I've got a decent Bush. I mean, a decent Bush impression. Last time, wait, let me explain. You're applauding, let me explain. Last time I did George W., I said I had a C- Bush, and a bunch of you screen grabbed the closed captioning, which is hurtful because, one, it's not fair to take something out of context, and two, it's a A+, believe me. It is a point of pride with me. It's like a bonsai tree. In the hours I put in, not in appearance. The point is, 2 years after Bush claimed to mandate Democrats seize control of Congress, and 2 years after that, Bush left with an approval rating of 34%, which coincidentally is also what Trump left office with in 2021. So just keep that in mind when you hear pundits saying stuff like this.
The American people spoke loud and clear on Tuesday. They gave this president and Republicans a mandate.
They know that Donald Trump's got a great mandate.
What it means is that Donald Trump has a mandate now from the American people.
He has a clear mandate.
Make no mistake, Donald Trump has a massive mandate. A common sense coalition destined to rebuild the American dream.
I think we've got a mandate from the American people.
The American people's voices were heard. There's a mandate.
There's no way Trump knows, of course, what a mandate is. That was one of the things he tried to scare voters about. Kamala wants to ban women dates and replace them with mandates. You go out to dinner with a beautiful woman, and when you're in the bathroom, they do a quick surgery. It takes 5 minutes. You come back, you're on a mandate. It says, Trump's already stocking his new administration with fringe weirdos like Stephen Miller. They're going to overreach. They're going to do unpopular stuff. Even right-wing pundits seem to be admitting that and getting ready for it.
And then deportation. There will be massive clashes because you're going to have cameras out there making sure that they capture the images of ICE coming along and taking these people away. And they deserve to be taken away. Sometimes you have to do tough stuff. But AOC is going to be there tying herself to migrants. It's going to be hysterical. But sometimes dad has to do the tough thing. Doesn't make it always look great, but it's the right thing to do. And that's what we expect.
Every time one of these guys refers to Trump as dad, all I can think is, how was your real dad? These conversations are for therapy, not to... Soon Fox News is just going to be a guy on a couch talking about all the ways Daddy Trump will make his life better. My dad is cool, my dad is strong, and my dad has a...
massive mandate.
Also... Can you imagine if I was on this show every night before the election calling Kamala Harris mommy? Things are bad, but don't worry, mommy gonna fix it. My wife would be like, are you okay? And I'd say, mommy says I'm more than okay. She says I'm special. While Republicans are preparing for Trump to use his supposed mandate to do stuff they know will be unpopular, Democrats are doing what they do best, turning on each other.
In the wake of their crushing defeat, Democrats are playing the blame game, trying to figure out what and who are responsible for election night.
We're getting this incredibly strong statement from Senator Bernie Sanders, independent senator from Vermont, who says it should come as no great surprise that a Democratic Party which has abandoned working class people would find that the working class has abandoned them.
Now, DNC chair Jamie Harrison, he blasted that, calling it straight up BS, saying that Biden was the most pro-worker president of his lifetime.
Pelosi was critical. She said Bernie Sanders has not won, with all due respect, and I have a great deal of respect for him for what he stands for. I don't respect him saying that the Democrat Party has abandoned the working class families.
If you're an average working person out there, do you really think that the Democratic Party is going to the mats, taking on powerful special interests and fighting for you? I think the overwhelming answer is no, and that is what has got to change.
First of all, let me just say, from a purely physical standpoint, no one is better at pointing fingers than Bernie Sanders. I mean, he wields those things the way a samurai wields a katana. Remember the debates when he was somehow the loudest person in the room, even when he wasn't talking? Looks like he's waiting at a deli, and the guy behind the counter just said, "Who had the bisque?" "Me, that was me. And there better be some bread in that bag." His fingers said more than his mouth. At one point, they even got their own tiny little microphones. Even if you put policy aside for a second, Bernie's argument basically boils down to this. Voters want someone who has the vibe of an outsider, who can direct the voters' anger against powerful people like billionaires and political elites. Otherwise, a racist demagogue will come along and fill the void by scapegoating vulnerable groups like migrants, which is exactly what Trump did.
We are living in an economy today, Donna, where the people on top are doing phenomenally well, while 60% of our people are living paycheck to paycheck. 25% of elderly people are trying to get by on $15,000 a year or less. We have the highest rate of childhood poverty of almost any major country on earth, and parents all over this country worry that their kids may have a lower standard of living than they do. That is the economic reality. And what Donald Trump did is provided an explanation. He went around, he said, "I know you're angry, and the reason is that zillions of illegal immigrants are coming over, and they're eating your cats and dogs and everything else. That's the reason." Well, obviously, that is not the reason. The reason is, in my view, that we have an unprecedented level of corporate greed.
There's something about the way Bernie sums up Trump's arguments that just makes it clear how ridiculous they are. He sounds like a tough-love Brooklyn high school teacher who isn't buying your BS for why you forgot your homework. "Oh, yeah, sure, the cats and the dogs ate your homework, and then zillions of pigs got wings and flew out of my butt and made me the King of England. I'm not buying it. Now get out of here so I can finish my bisque." It's important to note Kamala Harris did. She did support and campaign on many pro-worker policies like raising the minimum wage or making it easier to unionize or taking on corporate price gouging. But now some Democrats are saying those policies may have been overshadowed by the decision to elevate Republicans like Liz Cheney and Dick Cheney. Several Democratic operatives and insiders tell Rolling Stone they tried to convince the Harris campaign and her allies that palling around with the Cheneys was a bad idea with little upside and could harm Harris's support among disaffected Democratic voters. People don't want to be in a coalition with the devil, says the source speaking about Dick Cheney. Yeah, I'm sure even the devil's like, well, I don't know that guy. You think I know everyone who prays to me? Get real. And seriously, you're telling me people weren't swayed by the endorsement of Dick Cheney. He's such a lovable goofball. We all remember when he shot that guy in the face on a hunting trip for his hit prank show Dicked. So agree or disagree, there's a lot to grapple with here, but rather than wrestle with difficult questions over the identity and future of the Democratic Party, some pundits would rather just find a scapegoat and say, you know what, it was their fault.
We need to take stock of why we are being held hostage to the far left. The woke stuff, the PC police stuff.
Some Democrats are finally waking up and realizing that woke is broke.
There's an irony in claiming to be pro-Latino by insisting that people use the term Latinx, only to discover that Latinos themselves think the word is weird.
This is not Joe Biden's fault. It's not Kamala Harris's fault. It's not Barack Obama's fault. It is the fault of the Democratic Party in not knowing how to communicate effectively to voters. When we address Latino voters as Latinx, for instance, because that's the politically correct thing to do, it makes them think that we don't even live on the same planet as they do.
You think that's what swayed the election? Why are Democrats forced to answer for every choice of words by anyone even remotely associated with the party, but Republicans don't have to answer for their supporters storming the Capitol or their own presidential candidate's racism or misogyny, or the fact that he says Hannibal Lecter is both real and a cool guy? The great Hannibal Lecter, we love him, don't we? He ate people's brains when they were still conscious, but he never said the term Latinx, so we respect that. When you're a well-paid Democratic consultant, or you're a cable news pundit, it's much easier to beat up on some fake woke boogeyman than do any actual self-reflection. When they're not busy blaming wokeness, they're throwing trans people under the bus.
I don't want to discriminate against anybody, but I don't think biological boys should be playing in girls' sports.
Surprising comments from Democratic Congressman Tom Suozzi this week, speaking on an issue that has divided many along party lines and echoing what are usually Republicans' views.
Most Democrats I know think, frankly, that males at birth shouldn't play in women's sports and vice versa.
Now, in response to this, I've been poring over complex electoral data to arrive at a nuanced reply that will take time to explain, which brings us to a segment called Seth Gives a Long, Complicated Reply to a Thorny Political Question. All right, bear with me. Here goes. Anyone suggesting Democrats could win elections by throwing trans people under the bus, let me just say, off. If you're choosing this moment to scapegoat and demonize vulnerable people rather than aim your criticism at the powerful elites and moneyed interests who paved the way for the return of Trump and stand to benefit from his second term, you're way off. Instead of blaming marginalized people, maybe look inward. Take some accountability. This is like the Jets saying they keep losing because there's one guy sitting all the way up in the upper deck who's distracting them. He keeps screaming, football's a tool of the patriarchy, it's really throwing us off. The answer to losing an election is not to abandon marginalized communities, it's to stand in solidarity with them while challenging the powerful elites who aided and stand to benefit from a second Trump term. Look, I don't have all the answers, okay? All I have is a C-W impression. I got an A+ Bush and
a massive mandate.
This has been a Closer Look. Hey guys.